again. I am Patchwork Apples and I am ready for another project. You can call me Charlie though. Okay. My last project was the Christmas gift album in a box, which was really a gift box with an album inside. And I had all this that I did not use. So I'm going to make myself a bit of a challenge. I've put myself forward for this challenge where I am going to make an album using up everything that I didn't use. Along with, get this, the few sheets of paper that I have left. Actually quite a few sheets of paper. Now I'm going to make this album completely differently to any other album I've made before. So I'm going to start off with 8 sheets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sheets of A4 paper. And this is UK A4 paper, so it's 8 1/4 inches by 11, and I do believe it's 5/8 of an inch. And on every piece I am going to score at 11 1/4 on all 8 pieces. So, oops, 11 1/4 on every single one. And that is for all 8 pieces. Now, of course, I do have another channel that I'm usually on, but unfortunately I can't use that other channel because at the moment I can't record onto it because of all the work that I've had going on. And I was supposed to start again today, and I can't because my workman, or the workman, I should stop calling them my workman, shouldn't I? The workman didn't show up today. Unfortunately, the builder has had a run of bad luck. Not entirely his fault, I must admit. So I can't really blame him. Okay, next I am going to use this Scotch tape. So 3M brand tape, which is Scotch. I'm going to fold these, burnish, and apply tape on every single one. That's to all 8 pieces. Now, this 3M tape did actually come pretty highly recommended. I've seen a few people use it and they said it's brilliant. I've used it once on my last album and I think it's okay. After using it on this album, the construction of this album, I will decide whether I would truly recommend it or not. So I could stop the tape here and so I'll come back when this is all finished. But to be honest, for every break I make in my recording and splice it together with another piece, it uses up so much memory and cache. on my computer, but it's easier for me to just do it this way. There I have my 8 pieces scored, folded, and now tape on all of them. And these of course will be my base pages. Now I've decided to make them as big as I can, really, because I would like to be able to use the larger tags that I made that I couldn't use in my last album because they were just too big. And that was, like I said, once again, the Christmas gift. I'm going to call it a mega album because none of my albums are really mini. They're all pretty mega. And yes, it's now for sale in my Etsy store, which is a bit weird because it's actually, my Etsy store is connected to my other channel. But if anyone wants to know about my Etsy store and where I list my albums and journals for sale, among other things, I will quite happily share. All you gotta do is ask. Or maybe I should warn people beforehand. I am a pagan. Specifically, I am a head witch, and that is the kind of things that I sell on my Etsy store, or in my Etsy store. Right, next, as always, I'm going to put the pages together. So, and I put them together so each little flap here will be same side facing but at opposite ends, and I only do one. And if you're as nervous about double-sided tape as I am, so everything's just gone flying, maybe I should have mitered my edges. Yeah, if you're as nervous as I am and as much of a klutz as I am, I would advise a little bit of glue, just to give you that little bit of wiggle room. And then we simply put them together. And they're nice and even. Give it a quick burnish. And we do that to all 8 sheets so that you have 4 signatures. Mitre. I like to mitre, I just think it's just a little bit neater, but like I said, you know, mitering isn't always the best thing to do. Just most of the time for me. Like I said, this is just the way that I do albums, and I'm very well aware that other people do their albums very differently. Thank goodness. Lots of different ways to learn and have fun with. And my only other rule for crafting, other than have fun, do it your way, is if someone inspires you, please give them credit, because it's just a nice thing to do. doing it again. There have been, on occasion, not often, but a couple of occasions where before I started my own channel and I just had a website, I had a few ideas. Should we say, okay, I inspired very heavily, apparently, some people. Now, I am quite aware that lots of different people have the same ideas, but when you create something and somebody very popular actually apparently has the same idea as you directly after you publish your idea on their website, you can be assured that they've probably got inspiration from you, and it's only fair that those people give you credit, because they are exactly the type of people that always expect credit or payment for their own ideas. I am more than happy to share any ideas I have and not take payment. Like, for instance, I will never charge, because my tutorials aren't exactly professional. They are just these YouTube videos where I ramble on a bit, make a few mistakes. I will never ever charge for a tutorial, ever. I just don't think it's, you know, it just, you're a crafter, you shouldn't really, you know, it's better to share than to charge, surely. When it comes to mini albums, there are only so many ideas out there, I guess, before people do start copying each other. But if that copying is intended and isn't by accident, credit where credit is due. Oh my good grief, I am waffling. Okay, so that's my 4 base pages. Now, as I have a lot of pre-made tags and little booklets and such like, what I think I'm going to do is I am going to see if it says these, lots and lots of these. So I might want to say, for instance, use this here. Or in the middle. And of course I haven't got a flap on it, so I'm going to make some hinges. And this is exactly why I save all my little pieces of scrap. I said scrap. These are perfect for making hinges. And I have quite a few of them. Of all different sizes. That's, well, no, I could probably still get away with that one. And when it comes to hinges, I think it's easier to use the thinner pieces. So let's get a few of these out. Of all different sizes, because I have cardstock of all different sizes. Oh, that's a thick piece. And if you have done the same as I have done, and I think we all do, we make these albums and we have all these ideas of everything that we want to put into the album, and then we simply don't have enough room. Now, if it's an album, for instance, like this one, which is just a traditional album, obviously you can pad out these pages as much as you like, because, okay, it will swing open at an angle slightly, it'll be sort of like this, but it will still be able to close because you have a closure here. Of course, when it's a boxed album, or an album with a cover that can't be let out anymore, well, then you have to stick with, you know, a certain amount, and you can't really overfill an album. So that's the general idea. And I am going to pause this now, because now I've had my waffle and my rant, and I have all of these. I'm going to cut these into either 3/4 or 1 inch strips, and I am going to very happily cut and score lots and lots and lots of 1 inch strips. Crikey, my blade is blunting already. So I'm going to do that, and then I will be back to show you how I may construct this album. This works out better in 3/4 inch strips. So I'm going to get on with this, and then I'll be right back. Right, I have scored most of my bits of paper, cut them all into 1 inch or roughly strips, and scored them all in half, and I've made my hinge. And I'm not going to show you making the hinge because everyone knows how to do this. It's based on Kathy Walter King's hidden hinge system, and I will give the measurements. There's 2 and a bit pieces of A4 paper here, and I cut them down to 11 inches. I've left 2 inches for a wing, 3/4 inch for my gusset, and then each page is 3/4 inch, half inch, half inch, 3/4 inch. So 3/4 inch will be showing when I put my page on, and my main page will just sit on that top half an inch. So then you need another gusset, 3/4 inch, and then the same for the page again, 3/4, half, half, 3/4, and a gusset of 3/4, then 3/4, half, half, 3/4, and the gusset of 3/4, and then lastly, the last page, 3/4, half, half, 3/4, and then 3/4 inch gusset and your 2 inch wing. Now, if you take this from the first and last gussets there, it measures, or it should measure, roughly 4 inches. It should be just under 4 inches. So I know that I will need a 4 inch spine. As I've taped this together, I have put my strips of Tyvek, just 2 strips in between, just to strengthen it. And I've used this 3M double-sided sticky tape. I did test it. I put it in between a piece of craft card on the shiny side, because obviously it has a rough side and a shiny side. I used the shiny side, give it a quick burnish, and it really did stick. So I'm quite happy with using this, knowing that I'm going to use glue as well. And my next job is going to be to put these pages on ready so that I can get them all lined up. And I think it's going to be easier to do it here than... These were 11 1/4, not 11, weren't they? Maybe I should just cut my pages down. No, that's okay. I might have just cut that down slightly. But there's a slight gap top and bottom, but that's okay. So they're going on the bottom, the top half inch. So I'm going to put these pages on before I put this in my, before I make my album cover. So I'm going to place this here, because I know that then that is level. I'm going to take off this bit here, add some glue, of which I have managed to block, so I'm going to use this glue. Now I know that there's going to be a slight gap at the top, so open up my page, line it up, make sure that's all level all the way across. And it's stuck down properly on that side, and therefore it should stick down properly on this side. So I'm going to lift this bit up at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to take off this bit. Take off this bit. Add my glue. And then put this one down on two. Here, if I can do it straight. And I should be able to. Okay, so I'm going to do that to all four of these pages, keeping them all level. And then that'll be ready to put into my album when I make the covers. Whew, which should be quite easy. So I'll be back with the measurements for the covers. I have managed to get hold of some chipboard that's going to be a good size, and I decided to cut the chipboard at 10 inches. So it's 11 5/8 this way by 10 inches and 11 5/8 by 4 inches for the spine. And I've joined them together. Now this is double-sided carpet tape, but it's woven carpet tape, and I've used this before. I think I've shown it before. Don't know if you'll be able to see, there's like a woven design on it. So it's uber strong, and that's what I've joined it with. And then I've got all these bits of Tyvek going on using up my scraps, which are 2 inches wide, because that's the width of the tape. So I'm sure the carpet tape on its own would be enough, and you can see the width there in between the spacing between my boards. So I'm going to just put on my Tyvek. And that will help keep this strong. Oh, that's a long bit. Got any bits that length? So I'm just trying to sort of like pick the same sort of ones. There we go. So this one, the longer one on the bottom, and the shorter one on the top. There you go. So using up scraps again. I think I'm going to call this project my Scrappy Happy Christmas project. Let's cut off the excess from the bottom here and from the top here. And that will be my cover. Now I've decided having it slightly longer because when my pages are in, I can find my pages. There There we go. Oh, and I also cut down the pages. I cut them down to 11 inches instead of 11 1/4. This was one of the original ones. As you can see, it is just 1/4 of an inch shorter. So the inner pages are now going to be 11 by 8 1/4. So if I take, that's where the spine is there. That's where the spine will end. This will come up to here. So that's how much it's going to stick out, give or take, which gives me that little bit of extra space if I want to put any tags on any, if I want to put any pull tags on the large tags or photo mats that I use inside the pages. So that will go there, and there should be just under 1/4 of an inch top and bottom, which you're always going to get. Some people can get this absolutely perfect. I never can. So there's like a millimetre off just here. None of my pages are ever going to sit exactly straight. And if I get them straight one way, they're never straight the other way. So now I have to cover this. Now, I was thinking of covering it. I suppose I could cover it in just brown, or I could use tape around the edges. Now I have got, if I can find it, that one's not really thick enough. Oh, let's have a look at this one. So I have got this, but I think you'll be able to see the white through it. Yeah, you can. That's not really thick enough. But I do have this, which is a strengthened parcel tape that you use water on. And as you see, it's quite wide. It's not see-through, and it is strengthened once again with, I don't know if you can see the cotton lines through it, so it's got nylon or cotton or something through it. So I think I'm going to use that. Which means I'm going to need a damp cloth. Now I have tried using this before, and I was hopeless. But never give up, never give in. So I want 24 inches. So that's 22, 23, 24. So that's going to go to there. So I want 2 at 24. I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to cut these bits first. And that's because that's the full width of my book. So 2 at 24. Don't mind if it goes over slightly. And then 2 at 11 5/8, call it 11 3/4, which is going to be roughly there. So this is extra strong packaging tape that you can get anywhere, and it's relatively inexpensive for a huge roll. You can get it in white as well, and black. I've only ever seen it in white, black and brown, to be honest. I don't know if it comes in any other colours. So my next job now is to go and get a damp cloth, not some, a damp cloth. And stick this on. So I will do that, and then I'll be right back again. I have my wet cloth I have my paper ready. I've got a funny feeling this is going to be awfully difficult. Like I said, I have tried in the past and I haven't had much luck. I've been quite, I'll be brutally honest, I've made a mess with this in the past. So hopefully that will be enough. Actually, what I might do is hold it down there, wet this side, bring this side over first, and then do this side. And see how that works for me. I think before that sticks down permanently, I am going to slightly mitre those edges in like that. Oh yeah, it's really sticky when it gets, this is more success than I've ever had with it before. Let's see if I can just, it's not gonna come off. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's wet that down and let it dry off. That's a bit of the nylon string. See, it's actually got like this nylon in it. It's nice and strong. Right. Now for the next long piece. Wow, not long enough. It's not long enough, that end. Make sure it's long enough. Like I said, better too long than too short. Try that again. Stick it behind. Way too long now, but like I said, better too long than too short. And once again, this is as far out as my camera goes, by the way, so I do apologise for being out of camera shot. Let's wet it down here. Fold it over. It's really, really gummy. Easy to get the creases out of, I like that. That's good. So, turn this over. This is the outside of my album. Cut that off there. And give myself a little bit of a do the same this side before I stick it down. I know I'm faffing and I'm making a big deal out of something that should be easy. This side, or wet it down. And once again, pull it over. Well, on the whole, I'd say this was easier than masking tape. And I'm pretty sure it's going to hold up really well. So now I've got to do the ends. I think I'm going to cut that to length before I glue it, because I don't want to damage the bit I've already put on. Right, so let's have a look. One, two. Sorry about the banging. The builders are trying to find out what's wrong with my back door. Do I feel sorry for them? Heck yes I do. Okay, as you can see, I have finished wrapping, so I've done all the edges, and I had to stop recording because I had a friend come over for a craft evening and we were making some journals with the journal paper that I got from Screech Owl Studios, which is the one that I'm using in here. Oh, I know that, yeah, this journal paper. Right, which is why, yeah, I had to stop the filming. Right, we get comfortable. Okay, so now back to the pages. So I have put on some double-sided tape. Now this is double-sided foam repair tape. Foam. And I get it from eBay. It comes from China. It's supposed to be heat resistant. I've never had any problems with it, and it is really, really good tape. And so I only need 2 pieces to cover this. So I'm going to get this stuck down. And because I've got my tape overlapped in the centre, I'm taking the one underneath off first, because that should be easier and make it neater, but obviously, as you can see, it's not. Okay. There we go, that's better. And now this side as well. Well, I have already given that a really good burnish. So now I need some glue. Whilst I'm trying to ignore the neighbour's children outside. Well, I was looking for a pin, but I can't seem to find one, so I'll use... Oh, I wonder if I can get it out of this one. Okay. Put my glue all over because I'm not confident in sticking this down straight away. I want that little bit of wiggle room, and also the glue does make a stronger bond, even if you use too much. Now I have to place this onto the spine of my book, and I'm going to start with centering my line here, and then making sure that it's the same this side. And then if I put the pages down, making sure that I don't have any overhang, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm just going to burnish, get that glue all flattened out. And then I'm going to do the same as I did on my last album, because I have got a lot of elements that I can put in and on these album pages. Let's get rid of this glue. So to make sure that they all stick, down, I am going to actually sew this in with some invisible, I think I'm going to use fishing line, and I'm only going to have a couple of bits. So I'm going to pick roughly the middle, and I'm going to have a hole at 4 and 2, and then from the bottom, well, 2 and 4, and can do the same for the bottom. So I've got my marks here, 2 inches from the bottom, 2 inches apart, and 2 inches from the top, 2 inches apart. I'm going to do that in between each of these, and then I'm going to make a hole. So I want 1, 2 and 4. And then from the bottom again, 2 and 4. And 4, and that's from the top of the album, not the top of the page. Top of the album, 1 at 2, 1 at 4. Bottom of the album, 1 at 2, 1 at 4. And as well as doing it on every page, I'm also going to do it oh, that's wrong. Yeah, I'll also do it at the ends of the album, if you see what I mean. So I'll also be doing it on this bit here as well. So 2 and 4 and 2 and 4. And then I'm going to use my pokey tool and I'm going to poke some holes in where I've marked. I'm going to get some needle and thread, and it's fishing line, and I'm going to sew it with that. You could use anything, cotton, anything else. I just happen to have fishing line in the house because I was a jewellery maker, and so time to do some poking and some hole making. Okay, my holes have been made, and this is what I'm using. It's £8 fire line, which is I think you can also get spider line or any nylon thread, but fishing thread's really good because it doesn't break, but it does melt. So I'm going to start off on the reverse of the album, and I'm going to go through my first hole here. Now, like I said, this is just because I'm paranoid. So go up and down these first 2 holes, and then I think I'm going to go across to the next one. And then up to the hole here. So all I'm going to do is just basically do some really long stitches to stitch this in. So now I'm going to go across to the next one, down on the inside, across, up on the inside, across, down on the inside, and then I'm going to come down to here and come back this way. Easy, easy, easy. It would do if you opened it up. So across the top one and in through the next one. And across to the next hole on the next page. And carry on until you stitched these in, and I'll be using strips of paper to cover up the centre on here, and obviously the spine will be covered with decorative paper anyway. So, and these are 1/2 inch by 10 3/4 inches, these bits, and they're all the same. So I will sew and then I will be back. And that is all done, and I've tied it in a knot a few times, and now I'm just going to, hopefully, if I've still got battery power, yay, hit it with my thread zapper. And all this is just a little bit of heat to melt the nylon together and make it extra secure, so it can't come undone. And these you get from this one I actually got from the Beadsmith, but you know, anywhere that sells sewing and stuff like that, essentials, you can get it from there. And they're really useful little tools, actually. Love mine, and I've had this for years. I've never had to change the battery. I don't even know how. Oh yeah, I can change the battery there. And yeah, like I said, it's a lovely little tool to have. It's a really useful little tool to have around. Great for burning holes in plastic as well. So now I know that my hinges are super secure. I mean, there's a little bit of give there, but there's no way these are going to come out. And I think I'm going, no, I'm not going to glue these together because I don't know what I'm going to do exactly on the pages. So I might need them apart for, you know, easy accessibility. So I've spent the last 3 hours oh no, it's been about 2 hours ironing seam binding, and this is old-fashioned seam binding where it's not that lovely silky ribbon, it's strips of material with each end folded into the centre, and I get it ever so cheap. They do call it seam binding, it's not exactly seam binding. And I wash mine with bleach, not to take the colour out because you want to make sure the colour is fast. Then I give it a really good rinse, then I wash it again, and then I tumble dry it, and then I iron it with fabric softener in with the water with the ironing. So I spray it with fabric softener and mix with water, and that gives me, it's just stiff enough but it's bendable enough, and it works really well. But I'll show you that when I come to it, because I think I'll be using it quite a lot, because I've got some really beautiful deep burgundy and a really couple of nice greens. So there is the basic of the album. pretty simple, only 4 pages, but like I said, I'm hoping to load this up mega. The next thing I'm going to do before I come back from the next one is to stick these strips onto all of the little gaps here, and I've chosen all the same. Now this was the paper that I didn't actually like and didn't use when I did the Little Red Robin Christmas gift album. And then whilst we were making these journals, me and my friend yesterday, I used this on the cover of an album, and it looked really, really lovely, and I saw it in a completely different light, and I thought, actually, yeah, I am going to use this. I think it's going to be lovely. So there you go. When I come back, these will be glued on to where they need to be glued on. So that's here, here, and here, and here, 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 and here, 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 and here and here. Oh, and of course, here and here. So that's just it for the moment. My Scrappy Happy Christmas album is beginning. See you next time. Bye for now.